how are you preparing for them right now?
That's the only hotel.
Yeah. Now, first of all, the scope, the Honorable Baryomusu was very clear. The moment Kampala is done in the next 7 days, we have asked our leaders who assigned us this duty to allow us 3 more days to do what in the military language they would call mop-up operation, just to check on those areas that may have been omitted by our understanding of the areas for the vulnerable. So if we're seeing that houses were the impoverished were sandwiched by the rich, and then we left them out thinking that is an area inhabited by only able people, we are going to comb those areas and make sure that everybody is attended to. So 7 days to conclude Kampala, then 3 days for mopping up operation within Kampala. So it will capture the category you are talking about. As for refugees, I want the country to know, immediately we launched this exercise, I came here and said 2 things. One, the border is closed. No more refugee is allowed in Uganda for now as an asylum seeker. No fresh asylum seekers until such a time that we have conquered COVID-19, then we can lift that suspension. We have removed the reception centers. But the 1.5 million refugees who are here are being attended to very well, thanks to UNHCR, thanks to World Food Program and other partners. The only critical thing, and I want to make this clear, the police leaders who are in the refugee camps reported to me 1 or 2 refugee centers in West Nile. The refugees were still moving as if it is normal business. They were still using motorcycles and carrying them. That is illegal. It's not acceptable. They will receive their food in their respective homes. World Food Program is there. The UNHCR res rep left this morning to just do an assessment of what I am telling the country now. For those in Kampala, what we call urban refugees, what the teams are doing, when they go to a locality, they even don't segregate to say, are you a refugee or you are Uganda? They give food to all the vulnerable in those localities. But if there are some exceptions who will miss out from this support, we are working also with the UNHCR and World Food Program to make sure that the urban refugees are taken care of. There are those who have drawn my attention to the fact that they belong to, say, like to rest settlements, but they had come to Kampala for medical checkup, and they have been caught up here by the lockdown. I have asked my teams who are managing refugees to isolate those ones and treat them. Yes, and so that is being attended to. The last one.
Thank you very much. My name is Jamal Mayo from Deremonica. If I heard very well, Minister Among said that over 200 people in Kampala.
300,000.
As of far as the report, how many out of the 1.5 million people are supposed to benefit from it? How many are in Kampala? How many are in Wakiso? And how many are in Kenya? And number 2, one of the major challenges we had was the issue of food.
Yeah.
Because we reached at some of the distribution points and there was not bill and they have stopped distributing food. How have you dealt with this issue? And what are some of the companies that are distributing food? Because I've been asking several ministers, but no one wants to answer. Because I understand some companies were rejected because they were distributing bad food. So what are some of the companies that are distributing food?
You know, first of all, what is the problem? Beans now, the flow of beans is now very good. The country should know that there were smallholders, small farmers across the country who have not been in this business of supplying to government. For obvious reasons, I think they thought they didn't have the capacity, so they didn't have access to, you know, what they call pre-qualification in government. So what the government did was to lift, work with the Attorney General. Fortunately, he is part of our team, work with the Office of the Attorney General, work with the PPDA to see in this emergency situation, can we ban that for pre-qualification? And we decided to ban the law without breaking it. And so we have now invited even small people who have their beans. They can be in Kiriadongo, they can be in Lira, they can be in Tororo, they can be in Kisoro to supply. And I'm happy to report to the country that the smallholders have brought beans, cleaner beans than the big groups. Their beans is very clean. The moment they are checked, they are found to be good for human consumption. And therefore, that has made the supply of beans to really be very good. And it is a big eye-opener. From now onwards, all those country people will be allowed to formalize their work with government, so that as and when we need food, they will always be activated and they supply food. So as for the companies, there are many. I have not come here to tell you that so and so is giving, so and so is giving. It is critical to know that we have opened up. So if, madam, you know anybody who has good beans, we still are in need of them. Activate them and they will come to government. But we don't accept bad beans, we don't accept bad food. We are sitting in our stores, we have created space for NBS. The moment you deliver food, National Bureau of Standards will first check. If we find it is substandard, we throw away your food and you go away with it. So that's the position. The numbers, 1.5 is Kampala and Wakiso. The other 500 are from countryside. Those are the two, at least because we are first addressing 1 or 2 million people. Kampala and Wakiso will have, because we know from the findings of this ministry, the numbers may go slightly beyond that, because we are the first looked at mainly just about 51 villages. We are looking at what we people call slums, but the inhabitants, they are called their places informal settlements. Those were the areas we are targeting first. But as you can hear from the ministers, as they go to the field, they have realized that there are areas that may not be called the slums, but they are inhabited by people who are vulnerable. So that might swell the number, but we are working closely to make sure that everybody is served. We will update the country. The moment we conclude after 1 week, we'll tell the country how many people we have served and what are left. Then we brief our leaders and see the second phase if there is a need to go for the second phase. But we'll come and update the country. Thank you. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best. Go to the field and do a good job. And I want to thank you for objectivity. You have continued to support us. I am aware that most of you are also vulnerable, but we are trying to pray over it. Something might work out.
The last one. The last question, please.
No.
The last one. Of course, you have been donating soap and eggs. Where are those things? When are they going to be distributed?
Oh wow. Everything's in the. First of all, for perishables, what we have decided. For perishables, we are going to send them to the medical staff that are on the front line, and then the orphanages. We don't need to keep them in our stores. If you are kind to bring us, say like Matoki, will accept it. If you bring us eggs, we'll accept it, but we'll not keep it for long. We have all the people who are really doing everything they can to make sure that this disease is conquered. The nurses, the medics, and so we have discussed with the medical superintendents of the different hospitals in Kampala and around, so that they will be receiving these perishables, so to support the staff so that they have the commitment to do the job they are doing. We are also having drivers now. You have been told there are thousands, hundreds of drivers who are going to be pitched in one center so that they don't contaminate their families. And so we have teams which are in need, who are meant to catalyze the process, and they will benefit from this arrangement. But it is all captured and it is recorded.